Well, it is 12 o'clock and it is time for another edition of the virtual speaker series presented by the Penn State Alumni Association. Welcome, everybody. I am grateful to see so many people filling up the Zoom room right now. If you are zooming in and you want to let us know where you are, who you are, and where you're zooming in from, you can go ahead and drop that information in your chat at the bottom of your Zoom video window. I'll shout out as many people as I possibly can. We'll be getting started here in just a minute or two. Thank you for joining us. Again, we are going to get started in just a minute with the virtual speaker series. I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association. We have a great guest with us today, Tom Morris. He is the Assistant Athletic Director of High Performance here at Penn State. Tom's going to talk a little bit about himself and his background, and then share about the great work that he's doing in Penn State athletics. Thank you for joining us on the virtual speaker series presented by the Penn State Alumni Association. Good afternoon, Penn Staters, and thank you for joining us. I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's virtual speaker session titled Optimizing Student-Athlete Performance to the Highest Level. Live closed captions are available. You can access them by clicking the closed caption button at the bottom of your Zoom video window and then clicking Show Subtitle. You may also customize your caption view by clicking the stream text link posted in the chat. And we are live streaming today's presentation, which will be archived and available on our website. Today's guest is Tom Morris. He is the Assistant Athletic Director for High Performance at Penn State. Renowned for his expertise in athletic performance for professional, Olympic, and collegiate athletes, he fosters collaboration among departments affecting athletes' lives, building an athlete-centric model, integrating strength and conditioning, sports medicine, and nutrition. With 20 years of experience at Indiana University and expertise in strength and conditioning, Tom acts as the crucial link between departments like sports medicine, strength and conditioning, nutrition, and mental health. This afternoon, he'll discuss using his cutting-edge technology to assess and enhance athletic performance while emphasizing injury prevention and recovery. Please join me in welcoming Penn State alumnus Tom Morris to the virtual speaker series. Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Paul, I appreciate that very kind intro, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to turn it over to you now.
You bet. Thank you, ma'am. Well, welcome, everyone, and I appreciate this opportunity to be here with you this afternoon. Like Paul said, my name is Tom Morris, and I'm a Director of High Performance here at Penn State. And so over these next 20 to 25 minutes, I want to give you a little bit of background on myself and a little bit of the work I'm doing. But what I want to do too is I want to allow you to dive into my life and the journey that changed everything for me. Because the work that I'm doing now, well, I'm doing it from a wheelchair. And so I think this is where we want to dive into today with May 17th of 2012. That day, that pivotal day in my life, was the day that everything changed for me. I went from being that coach, strength coach, to Olympians and national champions. I went from being an athlete myself, former football player turned triathlete, competing in some of the biggest cycling races across the country. And I went from being a husband to, I promise you, the most beautiful woman and incredible person in the world. And in a blink of an eye, it was all gone. Picture this. It was one of those ideal spring mornings. 55 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. I'm on a high-speed bike ride, and I am training for a national mountain bike event. And I'm in the flow. I'm attached to the bike. The bike gets locked into the ground, and we're just in and out of every single turn. And I'm experiencing that freedom that I felt every single time I got on that bike. But then about a quarter mile before I'd end the ride, I would go around this sharp 90-degree turn, and I'd smash a rock. That rock sent me somersaulting through the air, head over heels. All I could see was the ground coming up faster. Faster and faster, my head got to the ground until, bam, impact. I struck the ground with the front part of my head. It jarred my head back and then straight down. It drove my eyes through that I could see my knees, the bike, and then the sky. The impact of the hit, it sends shockwaves through my body. My body instantly felt like it caught on fire. My hands felt like lightning bolts blazed out of them. I'd somersaulted all the way around, land flat on my back. The thud of the ground, it jarred my eyes closed, and I just lay there. Now, I had no idea what just happened, but I laid on the ground with my eyes closed and slowly opened up one and then the next. I opened my eyes to this beautiful blue sky that was above me, but then my body comes back online and it starts screaming at me. And I instantly try to get off the ground. I start trying to push and push, but I can't budge. It's like I'm suction cupped to the ground. I can't move. When that didn't work and I couldn't move, I started patting myself. And when my hands got to my chest, it's the craziest sensation because my hands, they felt my chest, but my chest, it didn't feel my hands. It was almost as if I was touching something that wasn't part of my body. Now, I had no idea what just happened, but the only thing that made a little sense was maybe this was one of those old football injuries. We called it a concussion, or excuse me, a stinger back in the day. You know, I grew up playing football not far away from this place, and I've had my fair share of stingers. And the good thing is about a stinger, if you just give it a little bit of time, you bounce back, you come back online. So that's what I did. I looked at my watch and I said, go. And time went by. 30 seconds, nothing. 1 minute, nothing. 1:30, and then at the 2-minute mark, I realized, man, this wasn't a stinger. And I'm not walking away from this. So then my mind instantly goes back to this place of, well, how are you going to get out of this place? How are you going to get out of here? And then it dawns on me, well, at least I got my phone on me. I had my phone in one of those cycling jerseys in the back. But this was the point when I reached in to grab that phone. Now remember, I'm laying on the ground, staring up at the sky. I go to pull the phone out. My hands, they're not strong enough to pull the phone out. This was the point at that I realized I'm stuck. Because it's not just I can't walk away from this. My hands aren't working either. I laid on the ground for over 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours of laying there, not knowing if I'd ever get out of there. 3.5 hours of not knowing if I'd ever go home or ever see my wife again. 3.5 hours of not knowing if this was the last I'd ever be. Luckily, at that 3.5 hour mark, 2 riders came by and they quickly called for help. I was airlifted to a hospital, and the diagnosis was I had a C6, C7 spinal cord injury. Very simply put, I'd broken my neck. Surgery fixed the spinal column, but the spinal cord was already damaged. And that damage left me paralyzed from the chest down, with all four limbs either impaired or not working at all. Now, that was over 12 years ago. Hard to believe. 12 years has already passed. And throughout that, I have learned a lot. I've learned so many different lessons. I've learned so many different things about mindset and learned how to go from having everything in life, having it all taken away, and then having to build it back up. And without diving into it real granular, I want to keep it maybe a little bit more broad and talk about an ethos that I followed. This ethos was how I followed through life. Just up here 1 second. It was how I kind of created this next year of my life, and it's how I followed myself through this entire journey. But it was to live in the present moment, focusing my energy on the controllables, and practice the mindset of gratitude. This way of approaching challenge and this way of approaching adversity and friction are the cornerstones of my own personal life, but it's also how we go and work with our student athletes to make sure that when the times are tough, it's about the mindset that we're allowing them to go through. And so let's dive into just that quote for a little bit and start with the present moment. What does it mean? You see, in our lives, and I'm sure many of you could know this, is our minds, they're like these great time travelers. They go to the past, they go to the future, they bounce around, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. So many of our athletes, they live in the past off of some past successes. They focus on the good old days there too. So there's a positive and negative twist. We jump into the future. The future, sometimes we sit there with hope and this place of where we want to get to. But we also spend a lot of time there catastrophizing what that possibility of that future is. But the reality is, if we're living in the past or in the future, we're not living with anything underneath our feet in the present moment. Because it's in this present moment that is the only place that we can have action. It's the present moment is the only place that we can make any kind of real change and handle the change that's in front of us. And it's that change that we all fear just a little bit. This quote right here has fueled me in a way that I believe so much that I created an entire course that I do online with professionals like yourselves called the Changemaker course. The course is designed to be able to give you the skills and strength to be able to handle that change. And so one little key that I'll give you on this one is this. When you go to the past or you jump to the future and the stress levels are high, one thing that I would tell you to reground yourself, to bring yourself back to the present moment where you have some control, is take a pause. Take a pause, look at your shoes, look at your feet, because the body can't time travel. The mind-body connection, the mind can go all over the place, but if you use the body to bring you back to the present, look at your feet and see the ground underneath you and bring yourself back to this moment where you have some control in your life. But that brings me up number 2, controllables. Controllables, we have so many ideas of the controllable factors in our life. We confuse them with what's controllable and what we can influence. There's a million things out there that we can influence, but truly the things that we can control are much smaller. The idea of anything from how people respond to us to how we're going to interact with, how the world is going to interact with us. Our athletes struggle with this a ton because what they do is they think that their coach, they have some control over. If they practice well, if they do everything right, they think they have control over that situation. But the reality is they have no control over it. They have no control over what that coach is thinking of them or if they'll ever play them. control comes down to a couple of things in our life. Consistency, being able to show up each and every day. And the one I want to real quick highlight is the most powerful one, and that is overall attitude. Our attitudes, the number one thing that we can control in our lives. Our attitudes of how we see the world, how we show up each and every day, that is the big thing that we can control. Now, my life, I try my darndest to live a life of optimism and positivity. Showing up, not seeing the glass as half empty, not even half full. It's 100% full. It's half air and it's half water. It's all matter and it all matters. And I try to use one word to really lock that in. And that word is can. C-A-N. Can is this igniter. Can is this primer. It's this way to start anything. It's a way to gain momentum. I can allows me to switch my mindset into a powerful, optimistic place and be able to put anything I can in front of me. Now, with all this being said, the screen's going to pop up here. We move on here because the second part or the third part of this is all about understanding that in the moment, the way where we're focused at, using the controllables. The third part is living a life full of gratitude. Gratitude is as simple as just focusing and appreciating the things that we have in life compared to what we don't. Gratitude is that mindset shift. It's the way of seeing all the blessings, if you want to call them that, in our lives. And what it does is it shifts, it switches our mind over to seeing some of the real positive, which changes our overall perspective of the world, changes our mindset, changes our mood. It changes who we are when we start seeing through the more optimistic, positive lens and using gratitude to do that. A trick that I use is one that's so simple. It's being able to put your hand on your heart. It's taking a deep breath in, letting that deep breath come out, and focusing on something, just one thing that you can be grateful for. By doing this one little practice every single morning, it instantly turns the mind on, and it shows and it shifts our energy and thought process into a place that's much more joyful and a much more plentiful place to be in. Now, why do I tell you all this about mindset and my own journey? Because I want you to realize, I don't want you to be mistaken. High performance, it's not just about the fields. It's not just about the weight rooms or wrestling rooms or the pools. It's not just about that. It is a complete mindset. It's how we approach everything in life. The mindset, the way that we go about day to day, our attitudes that we're bringing into it, it's the foundational principles of being successful. And for our athletes to be successful, they have to understand that they got to have that good foundation before we start diving in to many of the, let's call them X's and O's of what high performance is all about. But now for all of you, since we know the foundation is there, let's dive into this a little bit of what high performance actually means day to day. What I do, how I interact with our athletes, and what does it actually mean? Think of high performance as this almost umbrella term to an entire sports performance staff. So sports performance is made up of strength and conditioning, sports medicine, nutrition, performance science. It's made up of all the medical personnel that's on there. And they're all working collaboratively together to be able to put that athlete as the focal point. If you could think about an illustration of a wheel, the athlete is the hub of the wheel. We are all the spokes. High performance is the rim. It's the circulation around it. It is the collaborative effort, making sure that that athlete is the number one priority for us. Now, our mission, it's simple, but it's powerful. We excuse me, we operate as a unified team. This is so incredibly important. We operate as a unified team, developing systems that empower our athlete to achieve their highest physical, mental, and emotional potential. We spend many hours collaborating with one another, making sure that we're keeping that athlete as the focal point. But more important than anything, we create the system. You know, James Clear, the author of The Atomic Habit, said, "We don't fall to our goals. We don't rise to our goals. We fall to the systems that we have at play." And by understanding that, it doesn't matter what the goal is, it's always the system that we create around that athlete. That's what high performance is. We dig into the system that circulates those athletes. We have 3 major priorities that we try to address on there. Number 1 is optimizing athletic performance. All right. Primary goal for us as practitioners is to make sure that we're diving in to set up a program, set up a system around that athlete. All right. Now we have a lot of great strength coaches. We have a lot of great medical, and what their goal is to make sure that they're addressing that athlete from a very holistic standpoint. They spend many hours concentrating that program, defining that program to work on the weaknesses of our athlete and turning them into the strengths. We have an extensive kind of screening process once the athlete comes in, where we know everything about them, from their asymmetries, how they're balanced on the left and the right. We have them run and can depict if their foot supinates or pronates. We could tell you if it strikes harder on the right or on the left. What we're trying to do is find imbalances. If we could find those imbalances, we give a program specific for them. It is shown time and time again, when you clean up imbalances, you give a much healthier athlete. And that is number 1 goal for us. Number 2 is to integrate multidisciplinary support teams. I cannot yell it loud enough what teams mean to us. For us, it's the collective, it's the group, it's all of the people that are in the support or in the sports performance team to be able to come together and to be able to work and use their own professional knowledge, but then make it interconnect across the platform. This is the most specific area and maybe the most powerful area, because what we do is we lean on each other's strengths. So if you think of the medical side has great knowledge on where they're coming from an injury, but the strength side has great knowledge on how to make them perform. When you interconnect those two, what you do is you create a much more balanced program. And with doing that, you end up spending a lot more time with successes than trying to just problem solve. The third one is a big one. This one I'll spend a little bit of time here because it's a lot of fun. We utilize data and technology to personalize insight. And what I mean by this is we have technology that does everything all around. We have technology that we utilize to harness information, and we get it very, very easily these days. I mean, how many of you out there right now are wearing some kind of Whoop band or an iWatch? What's happening is we're able to harness all this information that's around us. And our athletes are no different. We spend tons of time with them with understanding how far they've run. We have GPS units that will lock in how far they've run, how high they've jumped. We know in the 85th minute of a soccer match, if they go up for a head ball and we know that they should be jumping about 30 inches when they do that. If they only jump 26, we know that there's a fatigue factor that's happening. By pulling and using all of these different pieces of technology, what it does, it creates a storyline to what that athlete is experiencing. And if you think about this, you all see a Saturday football game, all right? The training going into that is building that athlete up, looking for optimal performance. On Saturday, we want that athlete to be as optimally primed and ready as possible. But after that game, that athlete isn't the same athlete going in. The athlete that we're getting the day after has a fatigue level in them. They probably have some kind of injury that's going on just for the nature of the sport. That athlete to get primed again, we got to figure out where he or she is at that moment. And we need to do that through some objective measures that technology pulls. Now, one other side of this is we use a lot of subjective measures. The idea of just the basic wellness questionnaire. The idea for yourself is to be able to wake up every morning, and I'm telling you, this is as valuable as any kind of piece of technology, and answer the question, how are you feeling today? And record it, and consistently do that over time. What it does is it creates an entire storyline of what is going on in your body. You objectively look at it from an iWatch. You subjectively look at it from just how you're feeling and what your body is going on. And then you can create the storyline and the path, the history, what got you to those points. You see, all of these factors are just designed to create the right system for our athletes. If you create the right system for our athletes, if you keep them healthy and performing at the highest level with their maximal power output, you set them up for the most performance, the highest performance that they could give. Now, my work, it incorporates a lot of my own professional and then personal story, my own personal journey. And the reason is because it's a collaborative effort from our practitioners, but bigger than that, the physical and the mental, they coincide. That's the nature of how we deal with sport. That's the nature of how we get high performance out of there. We spend a lot of time with mindset and our approach into making sure that our athletes are not only physically equipped, but they're mentally equipped, they're emotionally equipped. Even on the spiritual standpoint, we're trying to look at the most well-rounded athlete that we could possibly have. So today, I just want to leave you with this idea that for us, it's all about mindset, and it's about dealing with adversity. It's about dealing with discomfort. That's what sport does. Sport is hard. It's constantly giving us challenges. It's constantly pushing our athletes, but so is life. Life is hard. Life gives us these challenges. So I encourage you to do this. If I could just encourage you to do one thing, when life gets hard and adversity strikes and challenges arise, just pause. Pause for a brief second. Take a look down at your feet. Get yourself grounded in the present moment. Get yourself here right now and focused in this moment. Put your hand on your heart. Think of something that you're just so grateful for, and use that gratitude to fuel your attitude. And I guarantee you'll be able to overcome it. I want to thank you all for having me today, and would love to be able to jump into any questions or anything, any follow-ups, but it's an honor to be here, and I thank you so much.
Tom, that was fantastic. Thanks for sharing your story. I know that's deeply personal to you, but inspiring for us to be able to hear it. And then, all that you're doing to help our student athletes perform at the highest level, not just on the performance field, right? But you're really setting them up for a lifetime of success, right? With these habits that you're instilling. The first question I have, Tom, is how did your approach to the work that you're doing before your accident change after your accident? Are you the same coach you were before your accident as you are today, or kind of what was the impact of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. The short answer is no. I'm a complete different person. I also am very aware that with all of us, we have that maturation and a changes of perspective. So a lot of things just in a normal life changes how we're going to perceive and interact with the world. But what I would say is that accident really, really brought attention to the fact of when your entire life is expressed through physical means, through, I biked, I hiked, I ran, I was an athlete, and then it's all taken away, and you don't know if you're ever going to get it back. we're all on this quest to live a joyful life, an impactful life, a life that we can help others with. And when the means, the kind of way of doing it before is removed, it makes you realize how powerful the mind actually is. It makes you realize how powerful it is to be able to learn to accept the situation, adapt to that situation, and then overcome it. And so that perspective is the thing that's been fueling me with the way I coach now. It's teaching a soccer athlete that when an ACL happens, it sucks and it is shit. We don't want it to happen, and God knows it, but it's the reality of life. And so you could spend time thinking about woe is me. You could spend time thinking about, why did I step the wrong way? Oh, will I ever come back? Or you could put action to it. You could put action in this moment. You could show up consistent, and you could focus on the things you can. And then you just feel, you start living that life with perspective of seeing the things you have. It changes the dynamic completely. So yeah, it's 100%. It comes from maybe a more holistic approach, I'd say, now than it ever has.
So I would imagine post-injury, the concept of gratitude has become, more on the forefront of your philosophy. I know when we're younger, right, we think we're indestructible. We drive a little faster. We take more risks, right? And then as we get older, we become kind of more grateful for everything that we have around us. Was that accident, was that a marker for you?
It was, and it's two things actually. Two things. It's exactly what you just said. It's, you get older, you find out, you hopefully become a little bit wiser, and then you realize when things are taken away, if you focus on the things that you lost, you really stay in this real negative headspace. But if you focus on the things that you have and you're grateful for them, you feel really, you just live a more joyful life, and that's just a lot more fun. But I'll tell you this from a performance standpoint, and our wrestling team does it phenomenal. So anybody that's on this call knows, like, Penn State wrestling, I mean, come on, there's nothing better than it on the planet. But Coach Sanderson talks about being grateful. And the reason is there's a couple of reasons, but one of the major ones for a performer, for a strength coach, for anybody is this: neurologically, the brain, when you're feeling gratitude and you're feeling grateful, neurologically, you cannot be feeling scared, angry, any negative thought. Like, it just, they don't match. They don't connect. And so from a performance standpoint, if you could think of the person that's at the free throw line with all the pressure on them, all the weight, they've got to make the shot. Well, if you feel that pressure, you feel that energy and that kind of you're scared. Well, what happens is you get tight. And when you get tight, you miss the shot. But it has been shown that when you're practicing gratitude, when you're sitting in the moment, you're grateful for that opportunity to be able to even take that shot. If it goes in, or it goes in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And you're just grateful for that opportunity. You will make that shot research shows it, 8 times more likely to make that shot than you would if you were scared. And Coach Sanderson, he speaks about it all the time. He did it the other day in practice. Was he, looking up at the wall in that wrestling room, there's all these iconic people that have been around. I mean, these legends that are 3-4 times or 2 to 3 time national champions. But when you look at them, I mean, we come from wrestling families. Like, this is, I don't even know who they are. And his point is that right now, this moment, if you win 4 or 5 national championships, in the near future, you're going to be forgotten. So right now, live this life of freedom. Don't put the pressure on you to have to worry about if you win or lose. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. We're here playing this game of life. We're here wrestling. We're here doing all of these things, and we're doing it with freedom and doing it with the best that we can. And so that's kind of my long-winded answer to gratitude. Is more than just even a mindset shift. It's an exact neurological connection, but it's an appreciation for the moment. And it allows you to live fearless. It allows you to go ahead and conquer the world, do the best that you can, and live the life that you're supposed to.
Tom, yes, last week you and I ran into each other and just had a really brief conversation around pressure and around how I was thinking about pressure. And you kind of set my mind straight, right? That pressure is artificial. It's something that we create. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Pressure is just such a funny one because when you talk to people and they're like, it's like, how am I gonna live up to different, my family's expectations? Pressure usually comes down to expectations, and some of those expectations do come from the outside in, but many of those expectations are just the self-driving. They're the ones that we put on ourselves. And so for me, I don't believe that any of our commitments should have any kind of expectations. I don't think, I go as far as to say is even in a marriage, like God knows, I hope my wife stays with me forever and we have this long, happy marriage, but I'm not expecting it. Like I'm not expecting it. I'm just grateful for this moment that I have. And I think that's so true of every bit of pressure that we put on us. Our expectations, we put so much weight on the fact that we expect this. Like we've just given Penn State 20 years of our life, and you're going to give me a cuckoo clock to leave here. Like we almost expect like these crazy things. But the truth is, like, we should live it like living in the moment, doing the best that we can, and having goals and being incentivized to be the best that we can. There's no doubt. But when you're living a life where you're in this current moment and you're just looking at stuff with a gratitude lens, it really, really does take that pressure and it drops it down a lot, because at the end of the day, this lifespan that we have is pretty darn short. So maximize it as best as you can. Take the big breath when the pressure rises and just let it go.
So a question came in from Greta Stelly beforehand. I understand the impact of nutrition on an athlete and the impact of lifting weights and cardiovascular health, right? The stronger you are, the better you're going to perform, right? The better you eat, the stronger you're going to get. All of that. Help fold in the psychological elements of performance in terms of maximizing performance.
Huge. It's when we talk mindset, when we talk anything mentally as far as performance goes, the mental aspect to it, to the point of this conversation, it's everything. But how do you get to that place where that psychological, that mindset becomes the driving force for you to be successful? I'm a big believer that competence creates confidence. And when you have confidence, you can do anything. But that doesn't come from just giving a million mantras of saying you're great to the person in the mirror. It doesn't come from just sitting around. Everything involves action. Everything involves your action is going to fuel your mindset. Movement creates this mindset. And then when you're doing repetitive things over and over again, you're going through hard challenges, you're using discomfort in a way to continue to keep growing. What it's doing is it's refining skills. It's refining neurological motor pathways that you can't conquer anything with, but it takes this repetitive over and over grind to continue to keep getting better. And it's within that it really builds up that psychological, that mindset, that approach to failure isn't even that failure is not an option. It's just when you fail, which you're supposed to, it's just a new way of growing and continue. It might be a little setback, but you take that, use it for what it is, and then just keep climbing with it.
So another question that came in is, would you have any advice for someone looking to get into a career as a collegiate athletic director, but is already late in their professional career?
Yeah, well, this late's all relative to me. It's like, what does late mean? I've met more later, like late 20-year-olds and early 30s that are sitting there going, I've already missed the boat. And yeah, you haven't missed the boat. But I would say this, even if you're 50, 60 and you want to try a new path, I guess I got to answer the question kind of broadly, but in this field, it's all about networking. It's all about how you network, who's going to be able to vouch for not only your character, they'll vouch for your values, they'll vouch for your work ethic. Most of the time, more often than not, it isn't about what that resume is saying. It's about what that person's saying next to you. And it's the same with, it's the same with everything. It's the same with marketing. I mean, if I want to sell a product, having great marketing is great, but I'd rather have this person vouch for me because that's going to land the product. And so for me, if you want to get into the world of being an athletic director, you got to put a little bit of time in there. You got to go down that path, spend time, network yourself with some of them, and then you might find your way there. Now, I will say this though, the new world, this new NIL world, and all of the things that we have going on, you might be careful what you wish for, because those athletic directors, they got some major pressure on their shoulders right now.
Yeah, and it's also, to add to your advice, I would think you'd want to find opportunities to garner some real experience, right? I think the way you get people to vouch for you, right, is by doing good work in front of them, right? So it's being willing to volunteer at the Olympic trial wrestling, right, when it's in state college, right? It's maybe taking an unpaid internship, right, during the summer with your local minor league baseball team, right? It's about trying to find really creative ways to garner that experience and to get into the network, right, so that you can network around with other people.
So true. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the old quote, how you do anything is how you do everything. I 100% agree with that. And I think if you're a high character, high value person with a strong work ethic, you getting in and volunteering wherever you could get a little traction and really be able to kind of demonstrate or show those skills off, you take advantage of that, and someone will be watching.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're a fan or not of Gary Vaynerchuk, or kind of consumed any of the stuff that he is, but he talks a lot about it never being too late, right? His is more in the entrepreneurial context, right? But it's never too late. Tomorrow when you start is the first day. It's just the beginning, right? And it's about having that I'm at the beginning mindset versus I'm too late mindset.
No, I think of that. First of all, I love Gary Vaynerchuk. I think his advice is just so spot on. That would be my point on everything. It's just funny. So I'm 45 years old. I'm only been here for about a year now. As an alum, it was awesome to jump back. On paper, it looks like a no-brainer. Why would you not come back to closer to home? Why would you not come back for this great job, for this incredible university? But the truth is, where I was at before was awesome. At Indiana University, they had incredible stuff going. The pay was like, our lifestyle was great. We knew everybody. And the reality is that even though this is such an incredible opportunity, that was still a huge, huge change. It was a huge, huge commitment to, oh my God, I don't even know who my dentist is going to be, or who, it's like all of these different things going on. And I had so many friends that are like, hey, like, this is like cruising time now. This is like, we don't need to be keep kind of pursuing that. And I just don't agree with it. I think life is short, and it's all about trying it. It's all about that experience, because even your example or the question about being an athletic director, even if you went out there and you did it for a year and found out you hate it and you never really wanted to you're not going to be an athletic director, that experience will be worth its weight in gold, more so than ever sitting there going, I wonder what it would be like. And so I do agree with you. And Gary Vaynerchuk says that a lot, is just go out, man, and maximize your life, maximize what you got here, try it, feel it, taste it, and try and live this life as best as you can.
Yeah, it's about, it was a big risk for you to leave kind of the place you become familiar with at Indiana, one of the great college towns, right? But it's about taking risks. It's about being willing to fail, right? Yep. And it's even failing from time to time that you learn the most.
It is. I could say that I've learned more from failing. I mean, I guarantee it's just how it is. You learn more from failing than you do from your successes. When you look back on, your lives, I mean, think of that in your own life. It's like when you think about some of the hardest of times, they end up being some of the most memorable times. When I was going through this whole rehab and recovery, it took a year of living in a hospital. And I had an aunt that was, that spent a lot of time with me. Thank God for her. She really was kind of, I don't know if I'd be able to do it without her. And we were down there and we were just reminiscing of those times. Those times, by all definitions, should have been horrible. But the reality is that through a lot of the discomfort, the suffering, like it really brings you together. And that's a really, really important aspect to make sure that we're understanding is the moment of discomfort that you're going through. Yeah, it doesn't feel good, but I promise you 99% of the time, it will be the thing that you lean back on and say, God, that was such a pivotal part of my life. And it really, really did make me as get to a different level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Tom, we are just about out of time today on the virtual speakers here. I have one more question for you. And I, if it's not appropriate, then please don't feel like you have to answer it, right? But you talked about the wrestling team, right? And how they have a lot of this really working well for them. What team have you worked with that we can expect a lot of big things out of based on how you're seeing what they're doing in the space that you're working in?
The number one team that jumps out at me is their women's soccer program. Coach Erica Dombach. That's high level. It's high level. It's high level from a technical, tactical standpoint. It's high level from a mental standpoint. I mean, they have a person on staff that literally is more of a mindset performance coach. The way that she approaches not only just her staff, but that entire team, that ecosystem she creates, and it's unbelievable because it really does have those athletes are spectacular, and there's some really, really great quality individuals, but the system that she has created around them is maybe one of the best I've seen throughout the country. It's transparent. It's high performing. There's love in there. There's just all the values that you would want to have in making sure that the program is going to be successful. I would not put it past in the next year to 3 that we see another national championship out of that team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a huge Erica Dombach fan. And you said something that I don't think people put enough emphasis on. You said there's love built into it, right? One of the things that we talk about at the Alumni Association is that we want to be a team that cares about each other, right? That practices empathy on a regular basis, right? And I think about like high performing teams, right? And it's teams that care about each other that often perform at the highest level, right? And I know that sounds like all warm and fuzzy, right? But think about the people that you care about in your life, right? And how they hold you accountable, how they set a higher standard, right? And how they make you want to go for a higher standard. It's those teams that care about each other, teams that love each other, that I think are, in a lot of ways, it's the differentiator, right? It's the differentiator between first place and second place.
I totally agree with you. I think the power of love is something, you grow up, and I'll go as far as to say as a male, like love isn't talked about enough. Like it's almost, I mean, I was brought up in where it felt like it was a sign of weakness when you talked love, but love is one of the biggest connectors we could have for one another. It's the purity of just human spirit. It's interesting when I was at Indiana, Coach Tom Allen, our defensive coordinator, right? We worked together, and I can remember when Coach Allen came into that program as a defensive coordinator, and he came in and he went by this acronym LEO, and it was love each other. And you want to see a bunch of guys, these alpha guys, these linebackers, these defensive guys, and he comes in preaching love, and they kind of looked at him a little bit differently. They didn't, it didn't really resonate. But what he did so magically was break it down, and he started showing the barrier of even just saying the word love, I love you, and being able to actually feel it, see it, say it. And then all of a sudden you see a team that just gets brought together. Like we all want that connection with one another. We want to feel it. We want this around each other. I just don't think sometimes we speak it enough. And I know for us, it's that idea is speak it, say it. If you have got something positive to say, another Gary Vaynerchuk thing, but if you have something positive to say and you can make this world better, like it's your responsibility to get out and speak it. It's your responsibility to go out and say it, because we get consumed with a lot of the negativity. So speak the positive, express yourself in that way. And I really do think you could change. I think you can, I mean, I'll go as far as this, as crazy as it sounds, as cliche, but you could change the world just by putting stuff like that out there.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you and I grew up in the same town, and we certainly had really solid, fantastic male role models, right? I mean, coaches and teachers and other kids' parents who were always around, right? And yet, I think this is, a little bit of a gap, right? That if we were to point to anything that might have been missing, it's you know, the lessons on how to express feelings and how to tell the people around you that you care about them. And I think about like the example like that Mike the Mailman sets, right? I mean, we need more Mike the Mailman in all of us, right? Because I think that's those traits, giving people compliments, right? Telling people how you feel about them. I think I've told more people I love them after the age of 45 than I ever did before the age of 45, right? So, um, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's true. And I do think that I think that what we learned, again, I'd echo everything you said, but I think that our mentors just learned from what their mentors were
Right.
like. And I do think that now maybe there is a shift, maybe we found a little bit more of a secret sauce. Like I said, wrestling here is the most dominant force in the world, like wrestling program on the planet. And those guys will not only say love, they express love, they genuinely have that connection for it. And maybe that is the secret sauce that we all grew up missing. Maybe this is, if you could build that into your cultures of sport or business or any of these places, that's maybe the high performance sauce that we need to really bring everybody together.
Well, brother, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for hosting a great virtual speaker series. We're so grateful for you joining us today and for all that you continue to do for our alma mater.
Well, I love you too, man. And we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everybody who has zoomed in with us today, and joined us. If you want to find other great events like this, you can visit our website at alumni.psu.edu and get all of our great in-person and virtual events. If you're a member of the Alumni Association, thank you for your support. And if you're not yet a member, what are you waiting for? Go to our website at alumni.psu.edu, and you too can become a member of the world's largest alumni association. Thanks for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the future. We are